Out of my way, Bart. Out of my way.
Yahweh be praised in the heavens. Yahweh be praised in the street. Yahweh be praised with our singing. When in worship we meet, Alex. Yahweh be praised, Yahweh be praised. We're just doing one song, but that's okay. Yahweh be praised, Yahweh be praised. Key of G. Yahweh be praised, Yahweh be praised. Yahweh be praised, Yahweh be praised. Yahweh be praised in the heavens. Yahweh be praised in the street. Yahweh be praised in the street. With our cymbals and drums. Yahweh be praised with our cymbals and drums. When in worship we meet. Yahweh be praised, 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 Yahweh be praised. Take one, Alex. Yahweh be praised, 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 Yahweh be praised in the heavens, Yahweh be praised in the heavens. Yahweh be praised in the streets. The way we live. Yahweh be praised in the way we live. When in worship we meet, Yahweh be praised, 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 Yahweh be praised. Alex Constable, we're going to miss him so much. Love you, babe. Thank you.
I'll just use this mic. How's that? Hello, everybody out there. Did you have a good morning? Yes? Okay. We're going to have two individuals just to reflect and to tie our work on right relations together. And so I now call upon, Jennifer Henry and Lorna Pius to come and lead us in that reflection. And I hope that that center mic is working for you. If not, you're right here.
Hi, folks. I want you to hear my friend Lorna speak, so I'm hoping we can, yeah. I just wanted to say that I was delighted and had just a feeling of joy when I got to meet and see Lorna last night. Lorna and I are co-conspirators, travelers on a common journey. We spent some time together in South Korea at the World Council of Churches Assembly, and we got to know each other there. And Lorna is a wise woman, and she's my friend, and I want us to welcome her to hear her wise words this morning.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. I just want to thank Toronto Conference for inviting me to attend and be part of the learning that you've had. Although I didn't show up to just before supper last evening, so I wasn't part of the activities during the day. However, I did participate in the Duty to Consult session that was held last evening, and Ed Bianchi's session this morning in regards to some of the information or things that we're talking about with the Truth and Reconciliation and Indigenous rights and responsibilities that's happening in my community in Toronto Conference, in Ontario, and across the country. Some of my observations are, it's really pleasing to see that all you participating and being there and wanting to be part of that transformation. But I want to take you to, because for us Indigenous people, it's a personal journey. It's a personal connection to all of creation. Do you know, or are you able to go back 7 generations? And if you are, can you hold up your hand? That's awesome. So when you go back those 7 generations, you know where your family has come from. Do you know that you brought with you, your family has given to you, and you have given to your children and your grandchildren? You brought those learnings and understandings and those teachings that has been given to you, and you're giving them to your families. For those, I have a very special friend too. She worked with Living Waters Presbytery, Patty Rogers. We both did a workshop in helping people to understand where they came from, their ancestries, because it's very important for my community, our Indigenous people, or our ancestries. I'm able to go back 10 generations where my family came from. Where we came from was, and at this time back in the 1800s, back in the early 1800s, 1600s, there was no borders in between Canada and the United States. There was no borders in the provinces. So my family was hunters and gatherers and travelers. So we came from, which is now Wisconsin. We traveled along the Great Lakes. My family traveled along the Great Lakes. And they finally, because of the Indian Act, because of the Indian agent, my family was settled around Parry Sound. Settled in Parry Sound, and then we were settled, moved to Parry Island for our reservation. Some of my family was also moved to Shawanaga, which is their land base is smaller than Parry Island. But that's our family, that's our connection to who we are, to the land, to creation. So just want to take that because we're learning right now, we're learning in our minds, we're learning in our heads about Indigenous people, what's happening with Indigenous people across the country. For Indigenous people, we know in our hearts. So just helping you understand from where you came from, bringing that into your heart, because you came from a land, you came from a spirituality, you have your ideas and your family values, your family morals, your family beliefs. They've come down through your history, they come down through your ancestors. So once we bring what we've learning, and it's great learning that we've received today and yesterday of understanding about Indigenous people across the country. Into our hearts, we're going to have a deeper understanding of what we as treaty people across this country, who we are and how we're going to live in the future. How we're going to move together in that kindness, in those 7 teachings that was shared to you yesterday morning. We're going to have a deeper understanding of all that. Because it's going to be in our heart, it's going to come from our hearts, our spirituality. Our spirituality does not, it only includes scripture, but once you go through your own spirituality from where you came from, you had your own ceremonies. You had your own belief system, and it's not much different than ours. I challenge you to go back to where you can go, to go back in history, to go back to your families and where you came from. Be connected, and we all be connected. Oh, Miko.
Thank you, Lorna. Because my mother was a person who did genealogy, and I thought that was a silly thing, and I teased her about it. She tromped around in graveyards, but I am deeply grateful to her now, because as I have come into this story, I tried to find my place in it, to find my place in the story. And to do that, I need to know where I come from. And so for me, that's been about learning where my people come from. And my earliest part of my family came in the early 1600s to a place around Salem. And they were there until the American Revolutionary War, and then came up to, as United Empire Loyalists, to the Maritimes. What I do know is that the process of people coming from, as United Empire Loyalists, as refugees, essentially into that part, made things extremely difficult for the Indigenous people who had a relationship with the British Crown prior to the arrival of those refugees on the shores, those United Empire Loyalists. Increasingly, my people were part of displacing Indigenous people in that part of our country. That, in fact, if the land was not sold to the Loyalists, it often was assumed or squatted on by, the Loyalists became squatters in that land. And that's a part of my story that I hold. And when we put ourselves in the story, sometimes it's not in the good place, right? The place we have to learn from that place in the story where we are. But I think I'm also trying to come to understand what the strengths and gifts are that are from my family. I'm starting to understand, yes, what our part in the colonial story was and what that means for me as a person who's struggling and striving to be an ally with Indigenous people now. But I'm also trying to understand what are the gifts and strengths. To a place where we're talking to each other as equals of mutual respect, I can share the gifts and strengths that I have to bring, and that we really can be friends and treaty people right across those connections. And that, I think, is our hope. As we leave this place, as we move into business, I just want to give you also a couple of signs that I have of hope that I'm seeing out there. And I believe very much that we're in a Kairos moment, in a transformational moment as a country. And I hope that we can be part of that we can all be part of that. We can be part of persisting towards the transformation that will make us those friends of mutual respect, that will make us the treaty people that we're not quite yet, but we could become. I see young Indigenous leadership. Right after the TRC Calls to Action report came out, a bunch of Indigenous young people organized on Twitter and are reading, if you go on YouTube, reading 100, I think there's 80 of them, reading the whole of the report of the TRC, the summary report, out loud. Right? They said there's absolutely no way that this report is going to be shelved the way that the reports of the past, we learned the RCAP report, were shelved. And so they're giving voice to it and demanding that we hear it, that we don't forget it. Hashtag read the TRC report. There are folks who are organizing now about a pledge to read the report and to follow along and to share with one another our parts, to keep that report alive. I look across the ecological movement and I see Indigenous people taking their rightful place at the front of that ecological movement and struggle now. And that there's become a reconciling between environmental activists and Indigenous activists, and a recognition that Indigenous people have the solutions to offer too. They have a prophetic voice into our ecological crisis right now and belong at the front of our movements for climate justice. And that's beginning to happen. You can see it. And I don't know if some of you watched, but when that cabinet was sworn in, that new cabinet, what happened? Something happened that was unprecedented, that had never happened before. There was a territorial acknowledgement that that was happening on Algonquin land, right? Algonquin territory. And there was a young man, Thielen Kiknoswe, 13-year-old boy, he's just turned 13, who drummed the Prime Minister in, of First Nations, and the cabinet in. He's a blanket exercise facilitator with his mother, Elaine. He's a powerful young man who is steeped in his culture and his traditions. And after that, there were Inuit young women throat singers and Métis young people, jiggers and fiddlers, representing the three Aboriginal groups that are part of our Constitution, and a recognition that that was critical. And we have a Prime Minister who says it's the most important relationship the relationship with Indigenous people. We have a missing and murdered inquiry, something we have sought for a long time and advocated for. We have a commitment to implement the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. I don't know if these folks know what they're committing to, but they've given us words that we can hold their feet to the fire. We're seeing all sorts of things that begin to show us that the things that maybe our ancestors at the very beginning hoped for, peace and friendship, could actually come to pass in this country. And we can be part of that. And so I thank you for the opportunity to be with you and for your persistence in hope and for your part of being part of this movement of reconciliation. And I hope that you continue to help each other to persist, to keep walking this road until we are joined together with that kind of vision. One of the beautiful pieces of our scripture from Jeremiah is about a new covenant that's written on your heart, an unbreakable covenant. And it's an important text because it recognizes that the covenants before were broken and it was a time of failure and betrayal, but there can be this new covenant that is written on all of our hearts that can be the unbreakable covenant that God will allow us and help us to and enable us to live out. So I would ask that we consider to write that 94 calls of action on our heart, to write the UN Declaration on our heart, so it becomes that new covenant, and we might live into that future that our elders dreamed for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorna and Jennifer, for your words and for your encouragement and for being here to share your story so it can be intertwined in our story. And as we continue the journey, let those words that you've both spoke guide us in what we do and what we say. Thank you. This morning, we are moving towards lunch. And there are some announcements.
There are a number of announcements for you to please pay attention to. First of all, if you are part of the celebration of ministry service, we are making our way as we begin lunch to St. Paul's Church. If you don't know where that is, please ask people with the red shirt, as presumably they know where their own church is. And if you are part of that, lunch is there for you. If you don't know whether you're a part of that, please check. You can check with one of us. So if you are taking part in that service because you're a worship leader, or if you're being commissioned or ordained or admitted, you should be there. And our DLMs, where we are recognized as well. So please be there to be with us and get there soonest. If you are out and about for lunch, I do want to remind you it is extremely hot, like fry an egg on the sidewalk kind of hot. And so don't decide it's a great time for a walk. It is noon, it is the hottest it's going to be, and very humid. If you're going to do that, please do it carefully with water and stay in the shade. But this is not the time for the 10K. Also, if you are wanting to be a part of the choir, just a reminder that the choir practice is at 4:15, not at this time. Our music leader, Paul, will have some CDs for sale over the lunch hour. So you can see him if you're interested in that. And also, if you've always wanted to be an Uber driver, we do have a small opportunity for you in that there are two guys who need a ride back to Toronto after the celebration of ministry service. So if that's something that you are able to do, could you perhaps see me or see one of the people in the hats? Because they seem to be helping us to try to organize that. I'm not exactly sure where Toronto is, but I don't know. Somewhere, I think, right? I don't know where exactly in Toronto they need to go. But if you're at least willing to take them somewhere south, where apparently Toronto is, that would be helpful. Also, just a reminder that we're coming back at 1:45, and we are going to be what is now sort of the unofficial theme of Toronto Conference, taking a quorum count. So please come back at 1:45 and be as attentive as you can be to that timing. Just a note about the rocks and the cloth. You are welcome to take those with you. Those rocks are from Georgian Bay, and have been worn smooth by the waters and the wind of Georgian Bay and brought up onto the shoreline and collected for us. And you are welcome to take that with you. If you don't want to take it with you, then please feel free to put it in the green recycling bin just to the left of the exit door over here. And it won't actually, well, it'll be recycled, but recycled into my garden. So you're welcome to put it there. And I think that's it. We are going to do our grace at this time. You may say, how come you keep choosing the same grace? Because we had this wonderful idea that we would, by the time we were at this point, we'd know it all so well that we could do it in a round and all those parts and everything, but we've been rushed. So we are doing it around now.
We've been doing it in a hungry fashion, which is just once through. So this is this is the long play version. We're going to try a round. I don't know what key to pick. Do we have words?
We do.
Yes, please. Okay.
Wait, hold up.
I forgot my list. Okay, so if you are on the conference interview committee, before you leave for lunch, please come up to the front to meet with our parliamentarian, Beth Moore, for some instructions about this afternoon. So conference interview committee, please come to the front when we break for lunch.
You go there. I'll go here. Oh, okay. I had a key in my hand, now I got it. For all your goodness, God, we give you thanks. Thanks for the food we eat and for the friends we meet. For each new day we greet, we give you thanks. With me. For all your goodness, God, we give you thanks. Thanks for the food we eat and for the friends we meet. For each new day we greet, we give you thanks. For all your goodness, God, we give you thanks. Thanks for the food we eat and for the friends we meet. For each new day we greet, we give you thanks. For each new day we greet, we give you thanks. Yay! Yay! Ruth McDonald, voice of an angel. Thank you. Thank you.